Bill, insider secret number 7 is create your own, quote, parent picture. And this is really interesting. For 18 years, parents have been, really guiding their kids along, and very often, people step away and they think, okay, well, I've done my job, but maybe your job is just beginning. We call it parenting without proximity,
it's a big swing.
Yeah, and so this is a time for look. As a parent, you've been through this. I've been through this too. There's a tremendous amount of anxiety, and you have certain concerns and expectations for your kids, and it's not a time to give up being a parent. I think colleges might like you to think that way, and I'll use my own personal bias here. Unfortunately, I think we have some federal laws that kind of restrict communication between your kid and you may not be aware of this. You might show up on the first day of college, and you might go to an orientation. And what's really interesting is they'll take the kids off somewhere else, and they'll bring all the parents together, and they'll feed them some lunch or whatever it might be, and they'll go through a whole lot of there's just a whole lot of things, and they'll probably throw into the conversation this thing called FERPA.
FERPA, correct?
Yes, it's the Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It's been on the books for quite a while, and Bill, maybe there's good intentions here or not. Once again, I show my own personal bias, but you might not know this. Well, you probably do know this, that colleges are not permitted to share information about your kid's progress in school or any personal information unless your kid signs off on it. So the reality is, if you were to call a college and ask, they can't respond. So, when we talk about creating that parental picture of what you want and what your expectation is, you may want to sit down and have that conversation with your son or daughter. I understand you're not going to try to pry into it or personalize. I understand that. But, as a parent, you may want some say into, course selection, how they're, do you know that you don't necessarily get the grades?
No, I know. Listen, it's crazy. And especially because parents are putting so much of the bill.
That's the key. Look, once again, I got a personal bias. All righty. And my kids were great. My kids always shared with me, how they were doing and so on. And maybe that becomes an expectation. I'm not your kid's parent. But it maybe is something that you want to discuss with your son or daughter before you go to college, because it might be the last opportunity you get to discuss that.
We provide you with the Parent Trap, which is it's Money Trap number 1, and we actually have it available for you to read. And in that, there's a great story, Joe. A few years ago, I got a call from a mother of a child, and she said to me, I keep paying $8,000 a semester for my daughter's college tuition. She said, I write that check every semester. And she says it's 6 years now, and I don't even know how, I don't know how close she is to graduation. And I said, well, I can't tell you that information. I mean, I was this kid's advisor. I said, but what I can do is I can get in touch with your daughter and ask her to call you. And I did. And it turned out that this young woman had been dropping classes and retaking them. And she was not that close to graduation, after 6 years and the $48,000 in checks her mother had. But I did get them back together. And I said, I can't share the mother. And I told the daughter, I didn't share anything with your mother, but you know what? Call your mom. And it worked out. Now, in that case, it worked out, but a lot of times it doesn't. And this woman could, this is probably 5 years ago. She might still be writing those $8,000 checks as we hadn't made this change. And then when I went into the daughter's, it wasn't just this one class. She had done this with a bunch of other classes, and so she, after 6 years, she still had like a year and a half to go, there. But it was the FERPA laws. And pretty much when you drop your kid off in college, that gate's going to slam and they're going to hang a sign up
No
there.
parents allowed.
No parents allowed.
Mhm. I've seen that sign.
Yeah.
I've seen that sign. No parents allowed.
So,
Yeah.
when you start putting your picture together, it's important to share that picture with your kid, because how are you going to switch from being a caretaker to a coach? You know, how are you going to make that change? And what will your relationship look like with that kid? And that parenting without proximity, that's a shocker for a lot of people.
Yes, it is. It is. It can be done though, and quite successfully too.
Yeah. Good luck.